I have an important question. Would you say that Chris Rotello is probably your finest member?
He'll be your father, wouldn't he?
Well,
Don't know.
that's all I have.
Okay, well,
All right, that sounds very good to me. So,
I know the Cultural Commission does great work in Denver. I mean,
this isn't the culture, this is the...
no, this is,
Depends
we're just working
Depends on how it's
I'm
indexed.
thinking that you're... Well, I get to ask that question twice then. Thank you.
She does have an interesting question though. How do we, for vacancies, how do we get people that maybe want to be involved
Well,
with
that
this
is a
stuff?
good question, yeah.
Do we have a central repository of names that they could
Well,
call?
normally, if I may, it goes to the town committee chairs. So your Republican or Democratic town committees will put up a name. They'll be asked to find somebody, and they'll put up a name, and then the mayor proposes it, and the council votes on it. That's how it normally works. But yeah, there's always a shortage. of good
there
people.
is, because we did ask for that, and it has been a while, and there haven't been any names. We do ask fellow people, we
I was
go
gonna
to
ask
the
you,
AARP and ask them if they'd be involved, and there aren't too many people that put up their hand.
You need that many members to function properly?
No, but as long, we are functioning the way we are, as long as we have the 5 or the 7. We do fund for, and it really isn't too much voting that goes on other than when we have our election or something very important, but we do meet our quorum, yes.
I mean, is it, maybe the size of the board can be reduced possibly to a
That,
third,
yes.
so that you don't have that vacancy, then it comes, now it's in default, but then you wouldn't have this default. You wouldn't need that many members
But-
anyway.
But it would be
This
good
is no,
to
it
have.
says they make their quorum though.
Yeah, also.
We do make it,
Yeah.
but if we lose any of them, if we lose any more, we lost Diane, what was it, Yemen, because of her schedule, and if we lose more, then it's hard to find any, because we have no alternates. So it's hard to find other people.
Have you spoken to the mayor about getting
Oh,
it?
yes,
Okay.
it is totally, so Mr. Casanto's totally aware that
Okay.
we're down.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, we can bring that up at the next meeting.
Yeah.
We can make an appeal on the dais for volunteers. I mean, you know, when there was an article in the paper about the transfer station, and the mayor thought that he'd have trouble getting 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
After the article, he
So
was
maybe
not
this
flooded
might
with
help.
calls, but a lot, yeah. I personally think that if we appealed citywide, you'd get some, I don't know how qualified it would be, but I think you'd get some.
Well, younger blood has always been helpful, because I'm noticing that we are more active, and there's more things that we're trying to do as a group. We managed a couple of years ago to get through a contractor's resource book for the seniors, and now we're in the process, and the mayor has approved it, and so has legal, and that we're in the process of doing a discount program. We have to meet with the Chamber of Commerce, we have met with City Center, and we have signs that we want to have put in the window for seniors, and it will say the age and the discount that they can get, and we feel that it will help the businesses bring in people, but it will also help seniors that are whatever age they want to choose, 60, 65, to be able to save a few dollars. So it's going to work both ways, we're hoping, but we're in the process of trying to complete that, and find companies or vendors willing to put the sign. That's where we are at now, and that's probably our biggest challenge. How do we find these people to do that? And then we're on and off to another thing, and the other thing we're thinking of now is food is an extremely important thing.
Food.
And the senior center does get a lot of bread donated to it, but that isn't really what seniors should be eating. It really isn't. So, I mean, if there's a way that we could find, and I don't know how, we're going to have to brainstorm on that one, to find some sort of food, fresh foods, any place that has lettuce or something, or whatever, foods that would be more beneficial, it would be helpful too, because they can just take what they want. That's where we're at now.
Good.
So we do try to brainstorm.
Right, so I have a motion on the Commission on the Aging.
I'd like to make a motion to renew the Commission on Aging for a term of 5 years.
Second.
Okay, comments? All those in favor?
Well, thank you.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
And I can leave and go home
You
and
can go
just
home, yeah.
tuck myself into that
Unless you want to listen
house.
to bed.
Okay, thank you so much.
Watch out for broken pipes.
Oh, no, it's not possible.
That's the president.
Cancel.
for 10 minutes.
Oh, so yeah, okay.
I'm going to do next year.
Next one we'll do is the Cultural Commission.
Okay. Okay.
Before you save,
Really?
did they save your commission?
I've missed every speech he's made so far.
All right, the next one up is the Cultural Commission. Mr. De Silva, how's your commission work going, all right?
Very well, especially with Chris Ruttell.
There you go.
There too?
No, she was on, I thought the woman was with.
Oh, okay.
We are very fortunate in having good attendance. I've been on for about 40 years, and I don't think we missed a quorum more than 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Do you have trouble getting, how many people do you have on your commission?
We have 11. There's one vacancy. One vacancy. I mentioned it to the mayor, also to chief of staff. I don't know if they've forgotten or whatever, but we have no problems with we do. I feel that it would be nice to get some young people. Our board tends to be average age in the late 60s, probably 70. And they're very loyal and hardworking. I have no complaints. They're wonderful people. But it would be nice to have some young people for change. You know, I mean, especially if they're interested in the arts.
Well, it's important to keep that aspect of the city going. Very important. Go ahead and get
Now, you
it.
brought a questionnaire for us so that we can submit to the clerk.
If I may, through the chair.
Certainly.
Ben, what's your average budget? About 100,000?
103, I think.
And how's that going?
Well, it was always quite a bit smaller, but Mayor Boughton gave us a large increase because a practice had been established where people would go to the mayor's office for grants. And he felt that that's really the job of the Cultural Commission, and so he turns them over to us, which I think is a good idea. It's hard for a mayor to say no to some people. Who do you say no to and who do you say yes to? We've got a commission, so he gave us a large increase. But that was in order to cover what he was, and former mayors were asked to. For instance, with the Nutcracker, mayors have often helped with that because that's quite an expensive project, and a very successful one. If you haven't had a chance to see it, it's really remarkable. And the Ives Center and things like that. So now we have taken that from him. That's why it's larger than it always has been. But it's not too large to say that at all.
Yeah. And what's your average donation when somebody comes in $500, $1,000?
Well, it really varies. With the Danbury Music Center, it's close to around $20,000.
20,000.
Because they put on many activities.
That's for a whole year, though.
The whole year.
That's not for an event. That's
No,
yeah.
no. Their budget is $200,000 and some odd.
Yeah.
It's a big operation, and they produce probably 15 or 20 concerts, given the symphony orchestra, the community orchestra, the community chorus. There are summer programs where over the years, literally thousands of Danbury people have learned how to play instruments and got experience playing in the little symphony, they call it now, but now they call it the community symphony. And then many of them sort of graduate to the large full orchestra, the regular orchestra. And so that's why that's such a large amount. And then some people get $300 or whatever. We try to make them as small as we can because we want to stretch out the budget. And we try to have the allocations be seed money. it's, we don't want to have a commission whereby people just come and get money to do something. We want them to find other sources and be self-sufficient and so forth. So we try to help them out. We don't turn many people away, but we try to limit the things so that they go out on their own and apply to local industries and stores or whatever for other donations, and not always count on us to cover their.
Now, Ben, are you involved with, is it the same with the Richter Arts too? I mean, is that part of your,
No.
This commissioner, no?
We work closely with them because they're an important arts group. And one of our budget items is $6,000 to help them cover their artists' fees because they do so many programs. But they have their own self-sufficient means of getting money. They're struggling very much. The house is a problem.
Do you get involved with the concerts on the green too, then?
Yes, we do. We give them a grant.
Okay.
I
Great.
could just, the Danbury Music Center, Danbury Concert Association, and they bring in world-class artists 4 or 5 times a year. And unfortunately, it's hard to bring in top groups like that for little amount, and we help them out a little bit. We help with the Ives Center, first night, we make donations to that. Taste of Danbury, the Nutcracker, and we produce our own puppet shows every year. We've been doing that for 30 years or more in the summer, and then kids get their first approach to theater by coming to the puppet shows. We help Harambe with some of their arts activities. Taste of Danbury, the musicals at Richter, the art shows at Richter. And we have, every year we have a poetry contest. We've been doing that for 35 years or so, where high school kids submit poems, and we give them a prize for their effort. We think of it as scholarship for prize money. That's been very successful. And that's just a few of them. There are many smaller items. Sometimes the senior center needs help for, they want to do a dance, have dance program. And their budget doesn't cover that. And they want a swing band or something, and we'll help them out, that kind of thing.
Motion.
All right, I'll make a motion. Did we extend, what are we, 3 years on this one or 5?
5.
Right, I'll make a motion that we extend it for another 5.
I'll second that.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
So ordered. Thank you, Ben.
Thank
for
you,
your
Ben.
time.
Thank you, yes.
It's all those events.
All right, the next one will
Yeah, I
take-
know, that's it, you don't get the breath, you see 1 or 2 in the paper, and
Right.
you think there's
Well,
only
there's
1
a
or
lot-
2
a
events
lot of
going
things
on.
going on.
Yeah, I know.
And guys are getting a couple $100 to report an album, things like that. You know, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And the paper doesn't really do the job they did years ago.
They aren't local anymore.
They used to cover every zoning meeting. Now they barely go to a council meeting.
They don't have the staff.
They
Who was
don't.
the critic? Remember the critic used to be the big critic for the News Times, the arts critic. He used to do everything, and he was unbelievable. Everything, every play or symphony or organ recital.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
All right. Next one we'll do is we'll do the parking authority. And Mark, I'm going to have you recuse yourself and then tell us about what you do because he's on your parking authority.
Okay.
And I'm going to have
And
you.
then also-
She's going to recuse herself. 'cause
Well, we'll
you're
just,
small.
we'll, you know, yeah.
Yeah, well, the other three of us will, you know, so.
To the chair, the parking authority, I'd say we meet regularly every month. I believe we meet the third Thursday of every month. Occasionally there's a conflict, we'll reschedule a meeting, but we have a 5-member board. I would say that all of the board members make 90% of the meetings throughout the year. We generally have most of our members at every meeting. So we don't have an attendance problem. Obviously, we're responsible for the ongoings at the parking garages and the level lots that the authority maintains, and the parking meters throughout the city, enforcement, and so forth. We do not present a budget to the city, but we do present them with our annual audit from CPAs. And of course, Debbie Pacific is our director, and she preceded Terry McNally after his demise, and she's doing an excellent job, in my opinion. And of course, Louise works for her, so, they're great employees, and I think there were about 20 employees, Louise,
If that,
18,
yeah,
18.
18
And-
to 20, no more than that.
And, I think that,
Do you have any alternates on your commission or no?
no, we just have a 5-member board appointed by the mayor. I was originally appointed, my person was originally appointed under Mayor Eric Quez, and I think someone was appointed under Mayor Bauer, I can't remember who it was. But one of our, Tom Devine was a member, but he had moved from the city of Danbury, moved out of Danbury, so he was replaced. Of course, Peter Damon is our chairman. He's presented the written questionnaire tonight. Frank Capiello, myself, Bob Steinberg, and Jeff Karen works at the DNA in Danbury. And we're all local. We all work locally downtown, which is good based on the type of organization that we are. We see what goes on every day as well as hear about it when we go to our meetings. So I think it's a good mix as far as that goes. And I think our budget, I think our revenues are around, I don't want to be quoted on this, we're actually going to review our audit at our next meeting. 600,000, I think, in revenues. I think that's the number.
Mostly from meters?
I forget what the breakdown is. I look at the numbers every month, but to tell you what I'm seeing, I forget. Gate receipts, meters, monthly in the parking garages, and the violations. Their fees, I think, are very reasonable. Parking fees.
What are violations? 10% of your revenues, 20, 15?
I don't want to quote you. I
Is it
can't
substantial
remember.
or is it fairly minor?
Always I forget.
Because I know you're out there every day writing tickets. I mean, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I see you guys every friggin' day. And no matter where I go, there's somebody 5 minutes later walking on the street.
I always thought that went to the police department, but it goes to the
It
fire
depends.
department.
Some goes to the, it depends on what you write. If it's at a meter or in
Yeah, what about the
specific
meters?
lots,
Yeah, West Street, Main
it
Street.
comes to the parking authority.
Yeah.
We do have an officer who can write for handicapped and other
Right.
things, which is a bit more money. That is also ours. But other things, most of the street stuff is the police department. But
Oh, it
meters,
is?
well, they write tickets out there too.
But expired meters, who gets that?
No, we get
You
that
get
at the
that.
parking
And what's
authority.
that, $10, $20?
That is $20.
$20.
We don't get the fire lane violations and things like that.
Right. I'm just talking about the meters.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we get, if Paul Cardinale can write
Oh, we can't?
other tickets,
Okay,
yes.
right.
Because he is a special,
Right.
right. But there aren't that many, because it's just one gentleman. But it's basically, yeah, just the meters.
Through the chair, it's been a year, how's the parking garage, the new one? Any growing pains, construction-related problems that hadn't been addressed, but punch list, everything all done? I know there was some spalling and cracking on the top, but you've gone through a winter now and a summer. Is it performing the way that you expected?
I haven't heard anything to the contrary. As far as I know, the construction we thought was an excellent project. They did a great job on that. Again, I haven't heard anything.
So there's no issues?
There's no
Okay.
issues that I know of. I think the use is growing, And, you know, anything, like even when the first garage was built, it took time to,
Sure.
I don't know,
Utilize
so
it.
it was like gangbusters,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He's not ever gonna fill it, and then it's filled.
and, you know, of course, it increases our responsibility from an operations standpoint.
Give you a lot more spaces.
Right.
Yeah.
And manpower, obviously, to make sure it's maintained. The 24/7 business, really. You know, not that it's, I forget, we close.
We close around 2 hours. The Bardo Garage is open 24 hours.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Right.
That's open 24 hours. That's never closed.
Right.
Except for a holiday or
Right.
whatever.
And how's that doing capacity-wise?
Well, they
Are
don't
you-
even walk on a holiday, but I'm saying, nobody's there. Excuse me?
I think there was 330 spaces or something like that, with a certain amount reserved for the residents nearby on Chapel and whatnot. How are you doing with getting that place filled up and operating? I mean, is it being used? Is it generating income? Is it reaching its projections?
I don't have enough information to
Okay.
comment on that at this point. I know that it's growing in use. I forget what percentage of capacity we currently have. I wasn't prepared to answer those questions, but I
I thought, I'm not looking for anything on the record. This is stuff that you've heard in the hallways, and, guys saying it's doing really well, or it's a little underperforming, or the
Right.
reflection, that kind of thing. Okay, all right.
Promotion.
Well,
Yeah.
quick,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to, they're all city employees, all right?
No.
So you're getting a separate audit on, when you talk about the audit? you get-
yes.
Well, how does the funds go then to the city? What do they, how do they handle that revenue sharing with the city, or does?
The revenue stays in the authority.
The city, the authority, they don't, the city.
Oh,
doesn't
there's
give any
nothing
money.
to the city.
City doesn't give any money.
No, we're self-supporting, except for the
Do
capital.
you have the bonds to cover the building construction then, or is it?
No, the city owns the garages.
Well, that's what I thought, but how do you work that?
Well, the bonds pay for them, and then the first garage, the city had some set aside for capital improvements, but the authority maintains the general maintenance of them. And in some cases, capital improvements as well. So it's, you really got to pay attention to what's going on. It's a big expense, obviously, to maintain them.
Yeah.
And, we have this,
But we're not here to judge that anyway. We're only here
No,
to
no,
say
no, I'm looking just for
whether the
general
commission-
information
whether
on
the commission
the,
or-
I just
I
thought it had a
don't
little
want
different
to talk out of
structure.
school.
Hold until a motion on them.
5 years?
Yeah.
Is that where you guys are?
Yeah, that's what it says.
All right, I'll make a motion to re-up them for 5 years.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
All
Aye.
right.
Opposed? So ordered. Gee, and I was calling Mark, I was calling you all kinds of names when I come, but I think we're gonna have another meeting to pick that up.
Gene told me I didn't have to be here first. I was at Friends of Terrell meeting, so I was all for the city.
I won't yell at
Did
you.
a letter too? Questionnaire?
All right, Mark, you're up.
Actually, she faxed me the questionnaire yesterday, and I switched cars this morning because of the snow. So I
Well, there's a blank one, you can fill it out, but you can just tell us. All we're interested in is, do you meet and
This is
you commit,
Chairman of the Emory Housing Partnership?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, we meet on a monthly basis. We're implementing the 10-year plan to end homelessness that was adopted by the city. We have 4 standing committees, and they meet on a monthly basis also. And over this last year, we were sort of getting meeting out to death. So what we're doing with the partnership is going to start as of, we voted last Thursday, every 2 months meet as the partnership as a whole. And the committees will continue to meet on a monthly basis. There's 4 standing committees, which are marketing, public relations, social services and supportive housing, and building and like a building, Paul Scalzo was chair of that, like a building committee, and then fundraising and financial. So we have 4 committees that report back to the whole partnership as a whole. And each of them have the tasks that are outlined in the 10-year plan, which is goals from 1 year to 10 years on trying to end homelessness and provide supportive services, build new initiatives, figure out what's going on within the community to provide support or wherever we can. So we've had a very successful year. We had our first Danbury Housing, our breakfast, and we raised over $3,000 for that breakfast. Part of the funding is going towards the vet house, which was going to be opening on New Street, and we got a $600,000 grant. We got a $280,000 grant from the VA, and matching other monies would be about a $600,000 project for 10 units at 18 New Street through the Nonprofit Development Corporation. And then we had Project Homeless Connect, which was the second year, and we served over 150 guests that day and provided coordinated services for those persons.
Now, do you have enough people on your commissions, do you think?
No.
How many do you have?
Well, the
The main board, I mean.
I can't remember.
You make your quorum?
Yes,
Yeah.
we need our quorum, and we're not having a problem with that. So what the mayor appoints the people. Some people have shown up and some people haven't come. And what we've been doing is inviting guests to participate because they can participate on the committee, and because our meetings are open to the public, we invite them to participate in our discussions with the topics that come up. So we've talked to Wayne in his new capacity as chief of staff and we targeted a couple other institutions that we would like to get support from, Westcon Hospital, and a couple other banks that we have. So we have cross-representation, social service providers, and so on and so forth. So to answer your question, we have enough people, but we're looking to re-energize it.
And the mayor knows it, right?
And the mayor knows it, and Wayne's working on telling him and doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make a motion.
Go ahead.
Ready? I'd like to make a motion to renew the Danbury Housing Partnership for a term of 5 years.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Do you want to take a minute and fill it out or send it in to Jeannie?
I will.
How are we doing on shelters? There's an article in the paper today about that new one that's opening up.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because they were able to pull that together very quickly in purchasing that. And that is through the Jericho Partnership. So they will have, what was that? I didn't get to
I think it was
finish.
18.
18 more beds for males. I was asked today how many people we had in our shelter, or actually it was last night, and I remember seeing, I think we have 25 beds at New Street, and then Dorothy Day has an overflow, but I'm not sure how many are in there. And
The
then
First Church has a bunch too.
she can take up to 30, and they may not be in a bed, but they could be on the floor. So the capacity appears to be there. Right, obviously now the demand may grow and increase because
that's the thing. Yeah.
We really don't know because of the economic times, and with the banking industry, and I look at you bankers, but the community banks understand to keep the people in the houses and try to work out foreclosure mitigation as opposed to getting
They're
them.
coming around to that now anyway. This makes a lot more sense than anything about.
And one of the things that we're looking for in the partnership on that financial resources is do we take advantage of what state and federal programs we can use, and we do welcome you to come. We have DanburyHousingPartnership.org. We have a website. I have to tell you that the Health and Housing Department, Paul Sherlow, Sue Gavrowski, and Caitlin are phenomenal resources to us, very helpful, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without them. So you'll hear that on the council because we're going to be coming back and we'll be updating you on the plan, the 10-year plan, asking for some modifications because something that the plan said was going to be done in year 2, we're recognizing needs to be extended out over a longer term. It could be from year 2 to 5 because it's going to take longer to implement. So things like that will be coming forward. And we just met today. I was up in Hartford for the 10-year plans. as a summit because there are 13 communities in the state that have a 10-year plan out of 169 towns and or those regions. So we're in advance of doing a lot, and I sat there and said, we are really way far ahead of them.
Really?
So we are.
Good.
Yeah, and it's great. It really is. And one of the things that's very important is the administrative political will from a municipality and the governing bodies to support what we're doing, because that helps the private sector, for me, as a private and a nonprofit person, to come forward and say, I don't mind volunteering if I know the city stands behind what we're doing. Because I'm not going to do it if I'm butting heads with the city. And I promise you I will tell you that right out and open. I have no time for that. And at first I wasn't sure about the whole concept of ending homelessness in 10 years. But we are going to re-message homelessness so that we can try to eradicate some of the problems that homeless brings. And a lot of it is supportive services. So it's kind of exciting. I mean, there's a national effort going on, and we're part of that. We are recognized as a leading community, jurisdictional leader in the effort to end homelessness. And we were recognized nationally as a community. The mayor did speak in Washington on that, and then we get noticed on their website, and they send out emails on a regular basis. So what we're doing is being watched, and we're being modeled after. So that's a good thing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Take care.
All right, the last one on the agenda is the Kenosha Commission. Now, if you want to take a minute or just to look at this over.
You got that?
Jack Kozlowski sent us or emailed me a question. It's a questionnaire, yeah. And it's pretty extensive what he went into. And Jack was going to have to come from Cross River, and I said, don't bother coming all the way from Cross River. It seems to be a pretty vital commission. And he says that they have no trouble meeting the quorums and everything. Here, Mark, I have another here. I have plenty of copies.
Oh, thank you. You can keep that.
Mark will make a copy for you.
Okay.
Spurs, Canadian geese, boy, that's gotta be a big
Yeah,
prize.
well,
Oh,
What?
the Canadian geese,
Yeah.
just getting them up.
So then here they go through the Richter. All over.
yeah, that's true. They didn't have that when I was a kid.
What?
Geese, those geese.
They didn't stop here. I kept going further north. Things got good pickings, I guess. Who says they can't learn, you know? And how quick did it take them? How many bird generations did it take them just to figure it out? You don't have to go that far. Kind of amazing when you think about it.
Does this get funding? Does this organization get funding?
They present a budget to the city, so.
Yeah, he presents a
I don't know
budget to
off
the
the
city.
top of my head. I don't know what that is.
And I know Jack's a paid consultant for it. Or I know he, for the city, he works through the health department.
Where do they get their money from?
City, I imagine it's part of the budget. I imagine it comes, well, I might be wrong, but I think it comes out of the health department. There is
Good.
a
They
section
don't have a
in
revenue stream though, right?
No,
They're not collecting
no,
the fees
no.
from Tom Park, that goes
No,
into the parks.
no.
Yeah,
No.
Parks and Rec. Yeah. So,
It's important, it's an important.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta watch.
yeah, no, very important, yeah.
You can't get away with this one.
Yeah. Well, that area is a heavy recreation area in addition, so if you got some other issues with the
Well,
water.
they got the soccer fields down there and
Yeah.
boating. People
Yeah.
launch their boats in there,
Sure.
the pro boats.
Now, the town park, does that have a commission too? Every town park, does
I think
it?
that's folded into the Parks and Rec.
It's in the Parks and Rec.
I don't think we even call the Parks and, do we still call it Parks and Rec? Yeah. We're doing
Yeah,
it.
because their offices are down in Riders Park.
But not none was
It's
ever-
all under
I think we gave it a
it's all under
different name.
Antonio.
Yeah, I think we gave it a
Antonio's.
different name a couple of years ago.
We did?
The Parks Department or something like that. It used to be Parks and Rec, and we broke it up into two.
It's under
separate things.
Antonio's umbrella.
Right, one guy runs the fields and one guy runs the lakes and other things. We split it up.
How did the Lake Kenosha end up with one and not Campbell Lake?
Probably more environmental issues over there than everything.
Yeah, but I think this, they're handled like Campbell, aren't they? I mean, this commission, it's called the Lake Kenosha Commission, but,
Well, it seems to talk pretty much just to
I
Kenosha,
think,
though.
I think it's just Kenosha.
all right.
Just to the Kenosha.
Well, that's a major watershed.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I think that's why,
why
that's
it's
why it
problematic.
gets the attention.
It's
key.
potable
Yeah.
water, that's the thing.
That's
We,
key,
we
yeah.
have deep wells in Kenosha. It's a critical resource
Yeah.
for the city, for the water department. And it may be that years ago they decided, unlike Cantaloupe Lake, which is essentially run by the power company, and we don't have much control over that. Kenosha is entirely within our borders and
Right.
we run it. So I'm guessing, it's way before my time.
Yeah, it must have been, probably was split in the old days. You
Could have
probably,
been. I mean, Kenosha was,
Well, I remember when Arcani, Gino, tapped the well, remember in the drought in the early
66
'70s?
or something.
No, the early
Yeah,
'70s.
okay.
He tapped the well over there, then that's the case of, you need the water up at West Lake, they can still pump water from down there to West Lake.
Oh, yeah, they can pull
Kenosha.
a lot of water out of there.
Yeah,
But they don't take it out of the lake, it's below the lake.
Yeah,
The
they drill a
aquifer
well.
is below the
the
lake.
aquifer, the whole thing.
Yeah, there's a pump house.
Gigantic.
That's why
You go down, if you look at it from the road,
There's
there's a pump house
Right,
to the
right.
right.
trailer park there, and they used to flood all the
It still
time.
does.
That goes to
Flooded
the
a
early
couple weeks
'70s when we
ago.
had the drought, and Gino did that, they ran a pipe all the way up to the West Lake.
Wow.
I don't know if you know this, but we can pump water from any reservoir to any reservoir, and we do on a pretty regular basis. We just move it around, and that includes the aquifer. We can do
I
that too.
didn't realize the lines ran from those water bodies.
So you go all over the place, yeah, and they were done 100 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
How big are the lines?
36-inch lines, I think I said it was up there a couple of weeks ago. I asked them that question, I can't remember it now,
I
but
know,
it's,
it is.
Fascinating.
yeah.
They're big, they're
Yeah, they
big.
have maps of all the bodies, all the towers, you know, like on Ontario Island,
There's some reservoir.
and they have maps of all the pipes.
All right, want to vote, we need a motion on this,
Motion to read.
Okay, go ahead. Well, you
No,
started.
no, I didn't want you to go ahead.
Okay, make a motion, we continue the
Kenosha Commission.
Kenosha Commission for another 5 years.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay. Open for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All
Aye.
right.
Thank you, everybody, thank you for coming out.
Thanks, Bill.
These are the copies for
These
everybody.
are extras. We don't-
in the-
More education.
These are,
Always an education.